I have no problem getting off my butt every day and doing my training. I have no problem pushing myself in my training, but I struggle to push the record button on my phone, on my camera. This has been going on for, I don't know, on and off a few months now. I've been struggling with this, maybe longer, and I'm been thinking, what the fuck is going on? And along with that, like, there's this parallel for me between my online thing that I'm doing and my martial arts journey. And I've realized some things. I've been thinking about this all day. So what got me into martial arts was pain, was grief. My mom had cancer. I couldn't deal. And at first it was just like it was out of desperation. I just needed something, some outlet for all of that pain and grief. And like for the year prior to starting karate, I was like, she'd gotten diagnosed a year before that. And I was doing a lot of exercise every day, a lot of workouts, like pushing myself really hard. It's the only way I could sleep at night is if I exhausted myself. And so that continued after I started karate, but then it quickly became something else for me. It became transformative. And I realized like all of that pain and grief, I could use that to fuel my training. And I found my joy again. I found this bliss in that. And I was fighting for my mom, like the whole way through her cancer. I was fighting for her, wanting to be there for her, wanting to be strong for her. And along the way, I found me again and I started fighting for me again. And that's what my training became, a way to fight for her and a way to fight for me. And through that, I found the strength to leave a marriage that was making me desperately lonely and unhappy and unfulfilled and feeling like invisible and misunderstood. And I found the strength to do that. So a lot of difficult things happened during that time through my martial arts journey, but a lot of really important things too. And finding that fight in me again. Like I am a fighter. But along the way in my life, like I lost that at certain points. I lost me and I got that back. And then I went through, some of you may know the story, some of you may not. So brief recap, 2021, I was going through a divorce, since 2019, separated. Divorce was finalized in 2022, but 2021 was really rough. My ex kicked our kids out of the house. They came and started living with me full time, but they were struggling with trauma from that, and I was helping them through that. My mom's cancer got worse. She ended up getting a second cancer, or finding out she had a second cancer, ended up in emergency, stomach rupture. 5 weeks later, she was dead. It was horrible. There was possible medical malpractice. I had a stalker at the dojo I was at. I had a falling out with my sensei over that. I was treated like I was the problem, even though I was the victim. It was bullshit. Also, like my mom, after she passed, this funeral home director stole her body basically and held her ransom, wanted to be paid for transport. And it was this whole big thing. So I was going through all this really difficult stuff. And then I left that dojo. And then, within however many months, several months, my divorce was finalized. And I really struggled. Like I didn't have the dojo anymore. I didn't have my teaching job. I didn't have belt tests and tournaments. Not that like getting a new belt, moving up in rank, getting a medal at a tournament, that stuff didn't matter to me. Those were helpful things to like help me push myself. Like I found this joy in the training and I just wanted to get better. Like my only goal was self-improvement, was continuous improvement. I just wanted to get better. And I found this bliss in that, in hard training. And the belt tests and the tournaments, they were just things along the way that could help me stay motivated, like the new belt, the trophy, whatever, like however I did, it didn't matter so much. It was just something to push for, right? It was something was like, well, if I'm struggling with motivation today, I had this belt test coming up so I can push my ass, I can bust my ass for that. So it was something that just helped keep me going when I was struggling. Although for the most part, I didn't struggle to train. But then after I left the dojo, like that was all gone. My mom was dead. I didn't have her to fight for anymore. My marriage was like, complicated divorce process, really ugly, really messy. That was resolved. soon after, and I knew it would be. And I didn't have like any major sharp pain in my life. I also didn't have this dojo to go to work at, competitions to train for, a tournament team to train with. I didn't have any of that to keep me going. I didn't have that outlet. And I really struggled for a long time, feeling like, well, I didn't want to train. I didn't have anything to fight for. I didn't have a mom to fight for. I didn't have me to fight for, and, going through a failing marriage. I didn't have that. Like, everything was resolved, and I didn't have this big pain in my life anymore. And I didn't know what to do anymore. And then I had this loss. I had this new pain of loss, right? Of losing all of that, and losing dojo and dojo family, and losing a huge part of my community through leaving that dojo, through getting divorced, through losing my mom too, because, a lot of there are people that I would see because of her. And my whole world changed, and I had that loss, a huge sense of loss and emptiness and loneliness. But I didn't have the same sharp pain that I'd had that fueled such intense training for me, that ultimately that intense training helped me find my bliss again and helped me find me again. So I didn't have any of that. And I struggled for a long time feeling like, what am I doing? Like, am I a martial artist? Am I a black belt? I don't even know anymore. But I kept going because I was doing this online thing. And the online thing in the beginning was exciting for me. And I felt so passionate about it. I started it in 2020, even though my mom was sick and I was going through this separation, divorce process. I started the Karate Shrimp during that time. But I was still so excited about it. I had this, fight in me. I felt like a fighter again. And so I had this passion that fueled me, taking that pain and turning it into fuel that became passion, right? That fueled me. And so the online thing was just an extension of that. I wanted to share all the stuff that was important to me, that I was excited about, all the stuff that helped me in my training, in my life. I wanted to share all that. And so I felt this excitement about all of it. And then over the last few years, having left that dojo, having lost that, I don't know, in a way I lost my fight. The fight in me was kind of left. It kind of left for a while. And certainly there were other things that went through that. Divorce being finalized, there was a huge amount of stress in that too. Even though the marriage was over, there was still all the legal stuff. And then going through my mom's, managing my mom's estate, there was a huge amount of stress in that. And I just felt exhausted a lot of the time. And then I had COVID too, which took me months and months and months to recover from, to get my energy back. And then I got back into, doing more training regularly after all that was kind of settled, the dust settled. But I felt mostly sorry, I have an alarm going off. I felt like I was going through the motions still. I forced myself to train regularly so that I would knowing that eventually I would feel like me again. I would feel like a martial artist again. And then sometime in the last, during that process and up until now, I've realized there's been this shift for me where I started off being a martial artist, etc. Because, I'm not just a martial artist. There's a lot of things that I'm interested in that are, I consider part of who I am. It's not just that one thing, but I was a martial artist making videos on stuff that was important to me, making videos, writing a blog, starting a podcast. But all of those things were just an extension of the martial arts part of it. I'm a martial artist who's sharing my stuff online. And over the past few years, that somehow turned into I'm a content creator who talks about martial arts, etc. Sorry, itchy nose. I think it's my hair tickling my nose, but yeah, and that shifted. And I think it's that probably wouldn't have happened, or not to the extent that it did, if I hadn't struggled with my martial arts journey. If I hadn't lost that fight, if I hadn't felt that emptiness for such a long period of time, and that feeling rudderless and anchorless, if I hadn't gone through that, maybe it would have been easier to stay excited with the online thing and stay excited with everything. But now it's like I struggled with burnout and all sorts of things over the last couple of years, 3 years, maybe 4 years. And I've realized it's been that shift. It's because the martial arts thing I didn't have that fire in me like I used to. But I didn't want to quit. I mean, I did at times, but I didn't. And so then there was that shift where it's like the martial arts stuff started to feel hollow for me. Like not that it wasn't important to me or hasn't been, but I just haven't had that drive like I used to. That pure energy, that just like where I feel like completely like alive and I can't not do this. And like there's this inevitability on my path, in my martial arts path. There's this inevitability with it. Like I have to do it. I can't not do this. I can't not push myself. I can't not work on improving, like constantly improving, never satisfied, and finding an incredible amount of joy and bliss in that process. And I lost that. And so it's like, okay, well, I'm going through the motions with my training. And then along the way, I just became a content creator. And that was never the point. Starting a blog, podcast, YouTube channel, the point was never just to have that be the thing and I just come up with things to make videos about. It's like, no, I am a martial artist. I am, a fitness-oriented person. I am a fighter. I am an empath. I am all these things, and I want to share that stuff online. Coach, teacher, whatever it is, but I want to share that stuff online. But it did turn into, I'm a content creator making videos about this stuff. And I've realized recently, it's like I have no big pain in my life, no big grief, no big, anger, any of it that sharpens me, that I need to use as fuel for intense training. Like I don't have that. My life is pretty even and stable right now. Sorry, I got to check the time. I got to pick a kid up soon. I think I'm still good. But I have nothing like that right now in my life that fuels that, that fueled me for so long and that helped me find me again. Everything's pretty, fairly good. And like I have an awesome relationship with my kids and like that is the most important thing to me. And like I'm so grateful for that. So it's not that like, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know how to say it. It's like I need something to fight for, like, or fight against. I don't know. And at times it was fighting for, at times it was fighting against, at times I was being pushed to train hard. At other times I felt this pull, but I don't feel that now, or I haven't felt it in so long. And I realized like I need pain. I need that pain as fuel. I need something to make me a fighter. Like there's no point in being a fighter like that. I have that part of me. I feel like I have this split brain. Like there's the empath on one side and there's the fighter on the other. And they're both aware of the other, and they do inform each other. And at times like I go back and forth between them. But I feel like I really need the fighter to make the empath and all that stuff better and vice versa. But I need that fight. I need something I need some pain in my life. I need some big, sharp pain in my life to get me off my ass. And then when I get off my ass, I can be my best self. And that's when I can do amazing things. That's when I can help people. That's when I can inspire people. That's when I can be there for people. That's when I can bring joy and love to the world in my weird little way. Because like when I was in that place where I was like so fired up and just in love with the process, despite all the pain in my life, despite all the sadness, the grief, the anger, the frustration, despite all of that, it helps people. And I had people say to me like, you have so much energy and it's so inspiring. And like, you're just always like so optimistic and happy. And I wasn't, but I had something to fight for. I had something pushing me or pulling me or whatever it was. I had something that I had fuel. There was something fueling me. And now, like, I haven't had that in so long. And I've realized, like, yeah, I've just become a content creator, making videos about whatever I make videos on, rather than a martial artist who just can't stop talking about the things she's passionate about. And so recently I've actually started feeling a shift back to that. So yeah, there's good news. There's a positive to this. And I don't have any belt tests to train for. I don't have any tournaments to prep for. And not that I need those, but it certainly helped along the way. And so it's like, what now? What am I doing this for? What am I fighting for? What should I fight for? But I've recently started changing my training back to what it was, where like way back when, when I was competing in tournaments and all that, I was training like, I don't know, easily 3 hours a day, every day. Like I was happiest when I was moving, happiest when I was training. And even though I was like in my 40s, yeah, I could totally do that. Like never having been athletic in my life. Like I was into fitness, but I was never an athlete. And I became an athlete from that, all that grief and pain that fueled me. And I used it for good. And so I've started training like that again, realizing like, I don't want to be training for shallow reasons. And like for a long time, the past several years, it's like, because I've lost that fight and I've lost that drive. And at times I'm like, yeah, definitely just going through the motions. I've like been training for other reasons or the wrong reasons and not feeling that connection to it anymore and feeling like, well, okay, I just want to like improve my body composition, or I'm doing it for health, or I'm doing it for whatever. It's like, yeah, those are important, but not to me. Those aren't what fuel me. That's not what gives me my passion and my drive. Like I need some kind of that sharpness of pain in my life to fuel me. And then it becomes something beautiful. I transform that into something beautiful and valuable. So what now? So I've started just, training the way I used to, as if I'm training for a tournament, as if I'm training for a belt test, and it's helping. And I've realized something, that there's so much pain in the world. There's so much pain that like I have this gift, and not to toot my horn or anything, but like it's strange and I don't understand it. I can't count how many times I've had complete strangers open up to me. How many times I've had complete strangers within minutes of meeting me tell me their life story and open up about their troubles. And how many times I've had people reach out and say, hey, I don't really know you, but I feel safe with you and I feel like I can share this with you. And I don't ever talk about this stuff. And so many times I've had people say, I've never told anyone this story that I'm telling you now. I've never shared this with anybody. I don't know why I'm sharing it with you. So there's something there, something about me, something weird. I don't know. I don't get it. But it's important and I need to do something with that. And I've had so many people reach out and share their pain with me. And I've realized I can use that. I can use that. I can use their pain. I can use your pain. I can use all the pain in the world to fuel me. And I can transform that into something beautiful. And I need to do that. I don't want to be a content creator making videos about motivation and martial arts and all the rest of it and the goofy stuff I do. I want to be a goofy, empathetic, fighting, aggressive, spirited martial artist who just can't stop talking about the things she loves and who helps people in the process. So I'm going to fight for you. And I know that sounds kind of fucked up and self-serving in a way. I'm going to use your pain to help me train really hard and I'll get super jacked. No, that's not it. That's not it though. But I need something to fight for. I need someone to fight for, because that's what it was. It wasn't about me. I was fighting for my mom, and then I found me again, and I did fight for me again. But it started from love for someone else and concern for someone else. It wasn't about me. And when I make my training and everything about me and making videos, when I make all that about me, it falls flat. I need to fight for you. I need to fight. So your pain, your grief, your struggles, I'm going to take all that and fuel me so that I can fight for you, so that I can be here for you, so that I can put all that love and beauty out into the world. I hope this makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me, but it kind of does. I've been thinking about this all day, but something I thought to myself when I started karate is I have no idea where this path is going, but I know I have to be on it. Another thing I thought is if I can make a career out of being really excited about karate, I would do it in a heartbeat. And along the way, I just felt so lost. I felt so lost. And what the fuck am I doing? And maybe I should quit all of this. But that's part of my journey too, right? Losing my way is part of my journey. I don't think it's supposed to be easy. My journey is not supposed to be easy. My martial arts journey hasn't been. My online journey, my life hasn't been. But yeah, I got to keep fighting. I'm going to fight for you. And in the process, maybe I'll start fighting for me again. Yeah, I don't know if this makes sense. But I had to say it. I got to go pick up my kid from work. But I had to say this. I'm just I want to keep making all the weird videos that I make, and my sense of humor is important to me. All the goofy stuff, all of that is important to me, but it feels so hollow lately. I feel hollow. I feel empty. And what am I doing? And but this last month I felt this shift. I'm finding that fight again. I'm feeling that fight again. And part of it was I recorded the podcast with Jeremy from Whistlekick. We did that beginning of January, and it was awesome. And it honestly really inspired me in realizing how many amazing people there are in this discipline in martial arts that I have met. I've created connections with, and I just feel the love, and I feel so many wonderful people that it inspires me. And I started to get excited again. So that was a big part of it. But it's also just been this I've needed to shift, my training, change how I do things. And also this online thing, I don't want to not want to press record. I don't want to struggle with that. I want to feel so fucking excited about what I'm passionate about. I want to feel so passionate about it and excited about it and grateful for it and all of that I can't not talk about it with you. Talk about it to you. I don't want to struggle with any of that. So yeah, I'm getting my fight back for you. Getting my fight back for you. So thanks for listening. I gotta blow my nose, and I gotta get in my car, and I gotta go. So yeah, there'll be more of this weird rambling, I'm sure, soon. But I probably should have filmed this horizontally for YouTube, but whatever. Okay, thanks for listening.